And then like this bloke stood behind her as like an ad-lib posse. Every time she would say something, you go, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'm not
ready.
Yeah, go on then. This guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hello and welcome back to Suits and
Welcome
Sliders.
back.
Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a nice week. Having a nice Thursday or potentially Tuesday if you're over here on the Patreon.
So true.
And if you are, you're a legend. If you're not, you're still a legend. Just
You're still a legend.
without a capital L. Anyway, today,
Episode 6.
they're going by fast, aren't they?
Cease. All right.
Cease.
I never did French.
Yeah, cease.
Yeah.
Because then it's set to eat. No, this.
Orange.
On two straight cats.
Orange.
Got a bit of French in me.
That's 11, isn't it?
Orange.
Anyway, episode 6. Yeah, you're right, mate. It is flying by.
It is.
We are close to hitting 10, which is a little milestone.
That is a little milestone.
A little cheeky milestone.
And thank you very much for tuning in and staying with us up to this point.
But, of course, we were guilty last episode.
We were.
We forgot. And I know you all know what we forgot. Because you watch every episode and you love us and you follow us and you subscribe and you do all that good shit.
Please forgive us.
We forgot to do our scratch card.
Forgot to do our tradition.
Well, we didn't actually forget. We forgot to tell you guys.
Yeah, we did it because we didn't have the physical scratch cards, which is usually our prompt. We did it on my phone.
We did it
via the National Lottery app.
on the phones.
How did you do?
Yeah, well, I got jack shit.
Well, so did I. So I think that's why
it's no surprise right now, is it?
No surprise
at all.
So now we're up at like pretty much £10 or whatever.
£12. So it was a 1. It was a 1. There was a 2. Yeah, we're like £12 now.
Like £12 in.
So another 2.
£14 in.
Let's go.
Do you want me to go first?
We picked Lady Luck because you know, all about the Lady Luck.
For sure. We've seen if the ladies give us any luck because we haven't seemed to get anywhere fucking else.
I quite like the photo as well. That's cool.
The photo is quite cool. There's a dog with the heart sunglasses on.
Right. So what we need to do is match up 3 numbers in a row to get the cash moolah on the end.
We did.
Row 1.
Row 1.
5, 6, 8.
You go through every row.
No,
I was going to say, don't go through every row.
Literally pointless, mate.
It's going to be just as pointless me going through it because I got sweet FA. That was an awesome throw, by the way. Yeah. Nice. Our tradition is screwing us over, guys. We're minus £14 so far.
We are actually.
However,
we need a whiteboard to show like how much in debt we are.
It's going to be more minus than that.
Especially off the biz wheel.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're literally like, what, minus 23? No.
30 something.
33.
30 something, yeah. Gosh. I'm so sorry, guys.
We're going to make it.
We are going to make it one way or another.
Actually,
scratch cards.
We've got a few subs on the Patreon.
We do.
We do, which we are so grateful for.
Oh, 100%.
Insane.
Absolute legends.
They are getting some juicy exclusive content.
They are.
And
if you're missing out, you're missing out. That's all I'm saying.
We got some Tuesday listeners, that's for sure.
Exactly. Anyway, let's get into today's episode.
Go on, son.
Today's episode, number 6, is about branding and identity of your brand. So we're going to get into the juicy depths of the core structure to who you are, what you define,
your values,
what you mean.
Essentially, isn't it? It's what you identify your business as. That's what other people are going to identify you guys as, whatever business you have.
So if you're a company, for example, I don't know, like if you can name a company that sort of has a brand defined with it, you've got like...
Well, like Nike, right?
Yeah.
First thing you think of?
Well, you think of like the athletics, you think of just do it in big bold letters.
Exactly, that's their slogan.
So yeah, it's basically the thing that you think of when you hear the company name.
Tesco's, every little helps.
Is that
exactly.
Sure
no, that's Ching Ching. That's like Asda or something.
Well, then it's not that brand.
Anyway, but like you get the point, don't you? So like Tesco's out there to help you with saving, stuff like that on your regular shop. Nike, for example, just do it. Just go out there, give it a crack. Just do it. Us, for example,
sliders, if we can do it, you can do it. That's the point here, people.
Bish,
bash, starting
bosh.
Businesses because everyone's struggling. We get it. We know we're living it. So if we can do it, you can do it. And this is about giving you the most entertaining method of showing you how to start a business from 2 morons firsthand. So if we can do it, as we said, you can do it.
We will share everything.
We will share everything.
Open and transparent.
Disclaimer though, we have absolutely no idea what was.
Speaking about sharing everything though,
go on.
What have we got next up?
Got one of your favourites. We got a little bit of workplace stories coming up, people. Workplace stories coming through, and we are exposing the Kevins and the Karens. They're coming out to play.
I have not heard Kevins before. I've heard Karens.
I thought that was the male.
Was that? I might be. I might.
I know a lot of nice Kevins, so I do feel bad. But
I might live under a rock. I actually have no clue. But I know a Karen for sure. I know. But we like it. Kevin and Karens.
Kevin and Karens.
Who are you? We're going to find you.
If anybody's got any ulterior names for the gentleman version of a Karen, let us know. Yes. But we're going to get into it now, and we're going to give you all the juicy goss on the world's Kevin and Karens for our own perspective.
Yeah, boy.
Should we get into it?
Yeah.
So getting into it, I've got as a headline, the 911 call for no emergency.
Typical.
Yeah, exactly. So the paramedic gets a call late at night. He goes, last night, just before midnight, I showed up on a scene to find a woman with a suitcase packed, waiting for me on her couch. She was in no distress, her vitals were normal, and she asked me, can we just skip the questioning? As in the assessment of the person.
Yeah.
So, and then she goes, yeah, let's just head for the hospital.
The hospital, right.
And the paramedic's like, that's not how this works, love.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got to obviously do the tests, run the things. He's like, can I
check
ask
her vitals and
what it is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I'm having an emergency procedure done next week and my doctor won't clear me to have the surgery. Paramedic's obviously looking confused. Okay, so like, what symptoms are you having? And she goes,
right.
No, not having any symptoms. And he goes, I just need to clarify. He goes, you've called 911. We don't give clearance for surgical procedures. We're an emergency service. And she goes, no, it's fine. I need an echocardiogram from the hospital. And he's going back and going, what is she talking about? He goes, what kind of procedure are you having? She goes, it's for my breasts. He goes, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. He goes, is it cancerous?
Oh.
She goes, no.
Yeah.
He goes, no. And he goes, no. She goes, I'm getting them done.
Thought so.
And he goes, you're getting a boob job? She goes, yes. I leave for my vacation in a month's time, hence why my bag is already packed, and I cannot be in pain at that time. So at nearly midnight, this entitled woman had basically taken up the time of an EMT, a paramedic, an entire engine's worth of firefighting / medics, who promptly left when they heard that the complaint come through.
Taxpayers' money down the drain.
Because she needed her boob job and thought it was an emergency.
So she just wanted like a little taxi straight to hospital.
Basically.
Well,
she said she was going on holiday in a month, didn't want to wait a week for the appointment because she could still be in pain, and so she thought she'd call an emergency instead.
I can't believe like people actually do that stuff.
Entitled to the nth degree.
I think they should get like fines or something like that.
Without a doubt.
You've just wasted however much like resources and value. You should get billed that.
Well, you do when it's like police call outs, don't you? So I don't know whether it's the same with if you like mess with the police lines,
they just bill you.
They'll fine you.
They should.
Or somebody would turn up at your house like, this is where the call came from.
Yeah.
You could be in a lot of trouble.
Especially if
I don't know if the same thing is though with ambulance
she's just there
services.
with like a suitcase. Like nothing's wrong with her.
I know.
Crazy.
Mental.
Anyway, I've got one.
Have you?
The sauce rage.
The sauce rage.
Yes. A fast food worker was having a pretty standard shift when a customer pulled up to the drive-through window with a large order of McNuggets.
Love a good McNugget.
Yeah, it can't go wrong. Everything seemed fine until the customer asked for extra dipping sauce.
Yeah, reasonable.
When the worker politely let them know that the additional sauce would cost 25 cents, the customer's mood flipped like a switch.
Here we go.
Basically, they went from calm to furious. They said, I've already paid enough. And how fast food was a highway robbery in his eyes. Which is ironic because it's like
kind of
cheap as anything. Yeah. Before the employee could even respond, the customer then tried to throw a punch through the drive-through window.
No.
Mental. But he completely missed apparently. Like, was nowhere near close. I mean,
I don't know if he'd be able to like get out the window to throw a punch.
Yeah, unless he's like Tyson Fury's
arm.
Like
Mr. Tickle.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyway, security was called and the customer sped off, but he threw his own bag of food out the window in one last act of rage. That's insane. So after all that,
so petty.
After being robbed, he then threw the food that he paid for out the window.
I mean,
Just outraged.
In truth, though, this is only for 25 cents worth of sauce. This is
insane.
Like, he probably paid for food already and didn't think it was robbery.
Probably paid like £10 for it already.
What a moron.
Crazy.
Fast food workers, they do get the brunt of it, don't they, a lot of the time?
They do, yeah.
That's absolutely mad.
Yeah, I do feel bad for them sometimes. Like, they're just literally serving you a bit of food. They're just billing you whatever Mackies say.
However, I will say fast food in the UK is not as fast as it should be. It needs to be faster in a general sense. Like, I've been out to the States. I lived there for a little bit a while ago, as you well know. And fast food there was like, you order, the food's with you in like 30 seconds.
Really?
It's rapid.
That's kind of scary, like how quick that is, though.
I think it's because it's more of a conveyor belt and they've got like things
already
to go,
heated and
because
stuff,
there's so much more foot traffic in fast food restaurants. Whereas here, obviously, it's a little bit more stagnant. So they do have to sometimes make it up. But I don't think I've been to a Mackey's and not been sent to go and sit in the car parking spot and wait for your food.
Yeah,
I don't think I've had that in ages.
Which
I'm kind of like, I drove here for a reason. I don't want to go sit in a car parking space for 10 minutes. Anyway. Before I become a Kevin, I'll carry on. Speaking of sauce, actually, we're going to move on to the best sauce ever, which is ice cream. Having sauce on your ice cream. I love a bit of sauce on my ice cream. Not sweet chili sauce, if that's what the guy was having for his nugs.
Barbecue.
But this one's titled The Free Weed, which might surprise you. Anyway, I worked at an ice cream store and once had a customer accuse us of putting pot, marijuana, weed, into the ice cream and drugging her son. She said that after he ate the ice cream, he became lethargic, which is what happens when you eat a lot of ice cream. She then said that her and her best friend tried the ice cream, so clearly there's two Karens here together, posseing up, and they both tried the ice cream and claimed that it tasted like pot. The kid was 4 years old.
They've tried pot before then.
Must have. Basically criminalizing themselves. The kid was 4 years old and had been out in the sun all day, so he was probably just tired by the time he got to the ice cream,
or a bit of heat stroke or something like that.
Exactly. So when the employee refused to admit there was pot in the ice cream because there wasn't, she said that she was going to call the main store and complain, but she never did. So she still thinks about that wild accusation to this day that she tried to drug a 4-year-old kid.
You know what? Ice cream store. That last little bit when they were like, he was wondering if they were going to call up because she threatened to call the manager. Reminds me of something we experienced quite recently.
Yeah, go on. I know this story.
We were filming our promo video and we went to a manor and we didn't actually know it was private or anything like that because we only wanted to film like the driveway, which was like a nice long entrance before the manor.
We were sort of giving those grand scenes but like spoofing them at the same time with the words we used.
Anyway, we pull up and probably within the space of 5 seconds of us getting out of the car,
I could literally put my foot back in the car. I was that close.
Someone's here, a Karen,
right up in our face with her dog. And then like this bloke stood behind her as like an ad lib posse. Every time she would say something, he'd go,
So yeah, that's right. You can't do that. Anyway, she was just going off on one, and we were like, oh, whatever. We will leave. It's not an issue. We'll go.
Exactly.
She's like, I need to take down your name and who to call and stuff like that. We're like, we're not going to give you that information. We're just going to go.
Thankfully, it was a Sunday, so we managed to like navigate around. You can't make any calls. It's a Sunday.
Honestly, she took as much time as she could to get her point across. Us. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And then she was like filming us as we were going away.
I know. It was like, who are you going to send that to?
Leave off. Do you know what I mean?
Anyway, I bet she got a right kick out of that as well.
I bet she did. I bet she loved the fact that we left, which kind of annoys me a bit.
Yeah, Karen won. 1-0.
We don't want to disturb the public.
We'll get there. Anyway, I've got one. The Impatient Movie.
The Impatient Movie.
That's what I've titled it. Okay. A movie theatre employee was working.
Mm-hmm. That's always a good start.
Typical stuff.
Glad.
When a flustered, late arriving man rushed up to order snacks. He barked his request, so he went, popcorn, candy and a large soda. No pleases, no thank yous.
Learn your manners.
Went to the soda machine, and it was obviously pouring. And he was like, this is taking so long. He then went up to pay. And when he paid, he pulled out his pocket a bunch of change. Chucked it on the desk. Bits fell on the floor, everything like that.
So
the person
unreasonable.
then, I know, honestly. Person then went out to go clean up, pick up off the floor, count the change, everything like that. And basically, he then went to complain to the manager and say, this is terrible service. It's taking far too long. It's just like, what are you doing, mate?
All of the steps in that is him being the reason why it takes
It's his fault, yeah. Like, he's late to watch the movie.
He's rude.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
He's rude. That's his fault. And he's just chucked a bunch of change. Like, you've got to be able to count the change, check if it's correct. It's
To be
part of
fair,
his job.
Notably, though, I will say there's cinemas that are like popping up around here called Everyman Cinemas. They're around the country. One of the best things they do is they deliver the food and drink to where you're sat, which I think is outstanding. In terms of USP out there, in terms of movie theatres, you've done a great job. That is a fantastic service.
It's a bit of luxury. There's one that I know that's near me, and you get like a nice little sofa that you sit on. It's nice and comfy, and they come around with like ice creams at half time and stuff like that.
Anyway, getting back onto the Kevins and the Karens of the world. Well, I've got a bit of a personal story.
Yes, go on.
do.
Another personal one.
And this comes from my own DNA. My old man's one of these people who, if he's paying for something, he wants to get the service, he wants to get the product, what says on the tin, right?
Get your money worth.
Doesn't want to get screwed around, doesn't want to have to wait or do all that.
A lot of people do that though,
which I respect. However, we had a bit of an ongoing joke when we were kids that started with us at a theme park.
Right.
So I've got an older sister and a younger brother, we're all quite close in age. And when we were going around this theme park, when we walked in, they measure your height and they give you like a wristband to say that you're tall enough. And my sister's a little bit older than Tom and I. And so we wanted to get on the same rides that she did.
Right. Yeah.
So we put on Heelys with wheels in the heels to make us like bump up by about 4 or 5 inches. It's a solid job.
Yeah.
So we all get given the same band. We're all gassed for going on all the rides together. And then as the day goes on, I don't want to keep wearing Heelys all day. So I take the wheels out of my heels and put them in my pocket.
Right, yeah.
And we go to one of these rides, and as we're coming through the queue, my dad gets stopped, and the guy goes, "Is he tall enough?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's got the band on." He's like, "I don't think he's tall enough." Pulls us out of the line, takes us back to the start of the line where the measuring thing is, so that he can actually inspect it. Sees that because I've taken the wheels out, I'm no longer tall enough. And so as like we're trying to get ready, I'm trying to put the wheels back in. The guy's like, no, just measure yourself. Anyway, I put the wheels back in, and then I do get over the line. He's like, "No, I saw him do that. He's not allowed on." My dad goes a bit nuts, right? He's like, "What's your name?" Starts trying to, he goes a bit of a scene. Obviously, we've been waiting in the queue, so you can understand why he's a bit flustered. And storms to the manager's office at the end of the day. And just before he walks in, he did the funniest thing. He turned to the three of us and he was like, "Kids, sad faces." And we're all like that instantly. So that when the manager came out, she looked at us and looked at the 3 kids with sad faces. And then, funnily enough, my dad won that battle. He ended up getting like free theme park tickets.
Oh,
for,
nice!
Like one of these Chesterton 6-month passes.
Oh, mental!
So like all the.
It paid off being a Karen or Kevin.
So it does pay off, but I wasn't too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've got a personal.
Have you got a personal one? Oh, go on.
It does not pay off at all.
It doesn't. Oh,
no
gosh.
chance.
Here we go.
So, this is my uncle.
Go on.
One of my many uncles, but the one in South Africa in particular. And he basically got told by his wife to go out, do the shopping. Right?
Yeah.
We need some food for the weekend, blah, blah, blah. Go out, go do some shopping. He doesn't do shopping, full stop, because he gets very impatient very quickly and always ends up in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he goes, yeah, I'll go do the shopping now. And he goes to do the shopping, gets all this stuff. He goes to a place called Pick and Pay in South Africa. It's kind of like a massive Tesco's in a way, but like huge, right? So he gets all this shop. Gets his trolley, he gets to the end of this queue. It's like this really long line, probably about 50 people, the way he explains it, yeah? And there's about 10 tills, and only 2 of them are open.
Of course.
And he instantly starts to get fuming, right?
He's a big lad as well. If he gets angry, you don't want to get in his way.
His blood starts to boil. Anyway, he's having enough. Beep, beep, beep. They check out like 2 people. The line comes down a little bit, and he's just like, "I'm going to be here for like the next hour and a half." He goes, "Oh, fuck it, I've had enough." Goes around to like, kind of like, you know, you got the cigarette kind of place. And you've got like all the little chocolate bars, maybe a meal deal, stuff like that. He goes to the person, he goes, "Can I go speak to your manager?"
Come on, I want the Safa accent, bro. Get the Safa accent out.
"Can I speak to your manager?" And he goes, No, we don't have any managers in." He goes, "I know you do. I know they're all up there." And he points to like this office section where all the managers sit, like the higher managers.
Got you.
He goes, "I know they're all up there, eh? Go get them." He goes, No one's in. Right? He goes, "I'm going to start throwing things." "I will start throwing things." He like threatens him.
Oh my days.
And the guy's like, "Yeah, whatever. Calling his bluff." You don't call my uncle's bluff because he would just do it.
Yeah.
So he picks up his trolley.
His trolley?
Yeah, his trolley. Full of the shopping, right? Launches it to the offices where the managers kind of sit. above this kind of guy that he's serving. Throws it up there.
Dashes it up there.
All his food and shopping that he's bought goes out the window.
Yeah.
He then starts like pushing all these like stands over, snacks and stuff.
Bloody hell.
Security come, obviously get rid of him, push him out. He goes home, goes to the front door. Wife's like, "Where's the shopping?"
Of course, yeah.
He goes, "Oh, you
Don't
want to know. I've had a stressful day." Anyway, basically, the wife the next day goes to get the shopping because he's refusing to go. He's like, "I'm going to start hurting people." Anyway, she goes to Pick and Pay. On the front of like the door, the sliding doors, there's a nice big photo of my uncle saying, "Do not let him in. Do not enter."
Jeez.
And he was like banned for, I don't know, like a good couple of years or something. Apparently, he hasn't been back since, obviously. But
oh my days,
that is probably the worst of the worst that I've heard.
One.
Yeah, that is a proper one, and it's hilarious. He's done a lot of things like that where he's been banned, but. Yeah.
Well, truthfully, everyone's got a Kevin or a Karen in their family somewhere.
100%, 100%. I mean, everyone knows like when there's 10 tills open, right? And there's maybe 1 or 2 open, and you've got a huge queue, and you're just like, why aren't you opening a few more?
Yeah, exactly.
It just makes sense.
You're right. You are right. I've also here's the other side of that though.
Go on.
It can be too slow, but I almost hate it when they go too fast.
Too fast.
I've gone to Aldi a few times recently, and I don't know if they're on some sort of drug, but they're like firing it through, and you're at the other end with about this much room at the end of the till, just trying to.
I hate that too.
I'm like,
and you got to like take it over to the counter kind of area to pack it. I'm like, what's going on here?
I swear they have like time limitations.
Yeah, they probably get like bonuses, don't they, or something?
Most probably. I feel like it's a challenge. I literally have to stretch before I go in there now.
It's
like,
brilliant.
It's gonna be endurable.
But then I'd prefer that rather than waiting.
Exactly.
Like a good hour.
Can you not just find a happy medium though, people? Please,
come on, guys.
Find a happy medium.
Self-checkout.
I guess that's workplace stories for today.
Let's have a couple of personal ones. I like a bit of personal ones.
Let us know your own personal ones at 100%. home. I'm sure you've either experienced them firsthand with
there's
people or got them in your family.
Yeah, you've probably got some worse ones than what we have.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But ours were pretty good.
Oh, we'll come back with a few of these if they're good ones in the comment. Don't you worry. But should we get back into the episode for now?
Let's get into branding. So, to get into branding, there's lots to talk about.
There is lots to talk about.
First of all, I guess, what is a brand? Like, how's it come across?
Yeah.
So, obviously, branding is essentially an identity, right? It's how the consumers or the customers perceive you. So, if you have a strong identity that you want to particularly hone in on with your business or whatever you're doing, then that will become essentially your identity. So, for example, like we were mentioning, Mackey's and now Workplace Stories, what's their identity? It's obviously being a fast food restaurant, isn't it? That's essentially what you associate that with. But for example, if you look at the likes of a Shake Shack or something like that, they're a bit more known for their ingredients, a bit of luxury. It kind of takes a bit longer to make, but that's what you're going there to buy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense for you?
It does. I guess it kind of comes across as a bit of like a personality
100%
to the idea.
100%.
Whereas the identity moves forward from that in terms of like specificity in what that personality has, and things in terms of like visual cues and all that sort of stuff. But the brand itself is just your overall sort of persona that you give off from that business.
Definitely. So like when you're creating a business and you're going through and you're thinking, what kind of core values or key values do I want to install into my company? That's what you've got to start to think of. Whatever you're going to pick should be your identity, and you should make it the forefront of your business to show that kind of value or identity that you're willing to perceive to the public.
And a lot of companies nowadays, they're going down the avenue of doing CEO branding or like founder branding. Point being is like the owner themselves does a lot of storytelling content and stuff like that, and almost builds the brand around them as a business to almost make it more trustworthy and loyal.
100%.
The companies in the past have gone down the avenue of just massive commercialization, all that sort of stuff. We're moving into a new wave of it being more kind of content driven by founders.
Huge. I think, like you mentioned, it's all about storytelling. It's not really about the product itself. Obviously, the product itself speaks for itself, right?
Yeah.
But it's everything around that and the movement you're doing within your company or business that essentially is your like kind of brand in a way, right? So, for example, like Ben and Jerry's, this is an interesting one. They openly align themselves with like social justice causes, right?
Okay.
And any other brand that doesn't do that within their industry will alienate their customers from going there. So like if I'm someone who's an advocate for social justice, I'm going to look to buy Ben & Jerry's, for example, because I know they support that. Whereas someone else, I don't know, do you know the ice cream brand? Because I really don't, to be honest. Haagen-Dazs, yeah, for example. I probably would choose Ben & Jerry's over that because I'm a preacher of that.
And I guess that also helps with when you've got that brand capacity, and once you reach out to a demographic because of that brand capacity, your name gets carried a lot more prevalently. So that's probably why it's difficult for us to think of another ice cream brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody knows about Ben & Jerry's because of one reason or another. Maybe it's something to do with the flavouring that you've known because you've seen it on an advert that's got something to do. And it kind of all ties itself together as time goes on.
Definitely. So like to tie it back into Suits and Sliders, perhaps, we would like you guys to think of us as open and honest and transparent into what we are trying to do here.
Yeah.
So when you go, oh, Suits and Sliders, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's about that business podcast, but they're like showing you everything from day one and how it's supposed to be. That's essentially what we're looking to do and we're looking to achieve. True. So
yeah, the businesses, we're a business, so the businesses, we're a podcast that focuses on business content, but the brand is we're trying our utmost to be two relatable guys that does it from a day one perspective rather
while
than
working in 2 jobs, stuff like that.
Realistic.
So yeah, huge thing to think about for branding when you look at your own business and potentially starting out what you want to do, what your core values. Look at that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of delve into the next step of that, which is then the identity of the brand.
Yeah.
It's weird because they do work hand in hand. You mentioned a few key points already, but things that then further specify your identity is things such as your visual cues and your visual elements. So in terms of having a color scheme for your brand, in terms of having fonts applicable to your brand, in terms of having certain pictures, or a great thing to go look at is Pinterest. Go and look at Pinterest for different companies and stuff, because you'll see very much what their visualization is behind their brand and kind of what they align themselves with in that sort of caliber. Secondly is also to have a voice as a brand, whether that's from your storytelling content as we've spoken about, or for example, like, what's that brand that's like, oh yeah, what's that?
I generally don't know. I know.
I can think of the advert, but I can't think of what the company is. I want to say it's Ben & Jerry's now, but I think I'm wrong. But anyway, like having, you hear that voice, it's going to annoy me as well. You think of that voice and you automatically think of the identity, or you think about like the presence of the advertising that you see and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Point being, it's like they have a defined voice, and you don't want to be carrying from loads of different angles and different people. You want it to almost be quite specified.
It kind of like goes hand in hand with your marketing and advertising, because you're going to be pushing exactly what you want your company to represent.
Yeah, and that moves into the final step, which is once you've got the visual, once you've got the audio, then you need the content, and the content is your story. It is where you've come from. It's why you're there. It's how you present that USP. It's everything to do with why your brand has an identity. And that's kind of, it builds, like,
people
example,
buy into that.
They massively. They massively buy into that.
Especially nowadays, right? People love to know how the company started out, who's bought the company, where's it going, what do they kind of want to install onto the earth, because it needs to be more than just a product. So if you're looking at like sustainability wise, a lot of people are now going to companies, you're not very sustainable, I'm not going to buy from you, I'm going to boycott you.
Yeah, no, exactly that. To choose one that's in the same sort of field to really highlight the differences when you do change your identity that are in the same field. I was looking into airlines because they're an umbrellaed society of different companies and different businesses, and their branding is all very different, which is quite difficult to understand when they all are in the same sort of capacity. Point being is I was looking more into British Airways and EasyJet, two of UK's most sort of valued operating airlines, both in the commercial space, but they fraction their audience massively because of that identity and because of that branding that they have. So you look at EasyJet and the identity is low cost, is short haul, it's all one class. There's no like class system. For example, there's no like economy and then business class. It's all one class. There's minimal extras, so you don't get food paid for you. You don't have like a TV and entertainment package or anything like that. And then finally, like in terms of the speed and rush process of short haul, it's very quick. It's fast turnarounds, but then that also leads to obviously them having so much delays. Whereas you look at the BA, which is also a commercial airliner in the UK, there's no difference in terms of the initial product spec, but they're much higher cost. They're multiple class system to appreciate than the added extras of the food and the entertainment. They're qualified as a legacy carrier. And I always brought it down to seeing the main two differences from their visual aspect is you look at EasyJet and it's bright colours, bold colours,
the orange,
family friendly sort of things.
People associate with EasyJet like the fake tan.
Yeah.
Hi, come on. I don't know if that came from like Little Britain or something like that.
I think so.
I think it might have. But that's also an interesting...
There's a quality Lee Evans sketch out there on
100%,
EasyJet.
but that's also an interesting point, right? Like famous people or sketches, whatever, can also influence your brand's perspective.
Without
so like I'm sure EasyJet didn't want that to be what they're known for, but that is kind of what they're known for now.
But yeah, when that does happen, you either kind of do everything you can to counteract it, or you have to ride with it.
Just ride with it.
So for example, Burberry, for example, they've got obviously the checkered look to themselves.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, it had this massive wave of not like gangs per se, but like people who would wear that as like a statement piece.
I know
but
what you mean.
They weren't like your sort of happy-go-lucky sort of people. It'd be like the people who would like do
the opposite of what they're
stuff.
Wanting to attract.
The opposite of their
sure.
their luxury sort of contemporary look that they were going for. And so they pretty much did like 160 on the checkered look, because that was the Burberry look. And now they present so much other stuff that's got nothing to do with that original Burberry checkered look, which I thought was really interesting.
No, that is pretty good from them to do that. Like have a full 180 flip.
It's very rare that a company manages to do that. And then finally, the only other thing I was looking at when I was looking at the voices of the two companies, you look at BA's slogan that's been around for years, to fly, to serve. It's very giving, it's very luxury, it's very suave.
Yeah.
And then you look at EasyJet's original one, which was come on, let's fly. It's like, it's minimalist language. Yeah. It's like very straightforward, it's to the point.
Yeah, they got a target market they're trying to hit, obviously. And so, same with BA.
And those are the identity factors of those two brands. So that's what we've got to kick us off in terms of giving you a little bit of a synopsis on the branding front of things.
Well, I guess from that example you did with Burberry, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned how they almost shifted their whole culture change because of what people were wearing, well, people that were wearing it, where they came from, etc., stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting point, because the kind of question that we should be asking is, should people go out their way to adopt new cultures within certain brands, or should they stick to, I guess, what they're wanting to come across or be perceived as? Yeah,
you're 100% right. And
it's like cultural appropriation in a way.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And it's a tough one, because cultural appropriation is brilliant for a brand, especially from an identity perspective, because if your identity is built around a culture, then you profit from having a very specific demographic to reach out to immediately. Issue is if it's not something that's part of your origin or part of what you mainly intended it for it to be, then you can get, as you mentioned earlier, get boycotted for that sort of scenario. So if you do go down that avenue, from my perspective, the main things you've got to look out for are making sure that you've got the right affiliates as part of your group. You can't be sort of saying that you're defined by this culture, but then bringing in like people in your advertising and bringing in your marketing that have got nothing to do with that culture, because then you're almost counteracting it from the off.
Yeah, you've got to kind of avoid that appropriation in a way, because if you jump on a hype or a trend as a company, but are doing it purely for profit, that's when people start to boycott.
Especially if it goes against your like natural identity and your natural message of things.
I think actually that leads me onto something, because you know how Nike, I don't know, they're obviously looking at sporting athletes, people who want to go out there and do things like that. Mm-hmm. But recently they've done like a lot of collaborations with indigenous artists, right? Okay. Which kind of shows that they're respecting that kind of culture in a way, but allowing them to take full creativity of it and design something in partnership with Nike, essentially. So in a way, they're still respecting the culture, because they're allowing those kind of people to do exactly what they want to do. And Nike are like, yeah, have it. Let's involve your culture some way into Nike, but get you to design it.
That's perfect, because if you get the people of the culture themselves to be a part of that process, then 100%. It's no longer about sort of a company that doesn't have those origins attempting to infiltrate that scene. It's about almost materializing a method to expand your demographics by bringing people in.
You see a lot of it, like companies go out to, not influencers, like celebrities, stuff like that, and they'll go, oh, we'd love to have you as a partnership. Would you like to have your own kind of segment within our company? What's the good one? Like Yeezy's Adidas, for example, right? Yeah. So Kanye West, he got to design a shoe, blah blah blah. They then made it, like same as Jordans and Nike.
True.
And that's a great way to obviously get involved with other cultures and also broaden your perspectives or with who you want to, your audience basically.
Yeah, to be fair, another similar example for that is like Disney. Disney have done this huge sort of push for expanding their demographics, entering films in different sort of scenes. They've got films like Moana, which was a huge film for like Pacific Islanders. They had like Encanto, which was for like sort of Spanish cultures and those sorts of cultures and things. And they expanded, and they had like specific teams set up to monitor all the way through, like monitoring the script writing, monitor the filming, monitoring like the recruitment for who they recruited as actors, as teams, to basically make sure that it wasn't a method of just culturally appropriating themselves.
You got to be very careful.
So that actually was core structure to making sure that the film had authenticity.
And you got to make sure you represent that culture
because
properly.
It's your own integrity you put on the line if you
100%. Yeah.
Way. But I completely agree with you there. Moving forward, we've got another segment lined up for us. I'm getting excited for this one. We've got a cheeky 5-minute millionaires that we're about to get into, where we're talking about bringing in a brand new millionaire business idea that we can pitch to one another, and you people at home can choose whose is the better one.
And we're basing this one off current social movements. Which is interesting. Yeah. Because you could pick a couple of topics.
There's a wide box there. There's a wide box there.
It is. So, in comparison to the last one.
Yeah, the last one was quite specific. But anyway, we'll get into it now, see what kind of ideas you've got. Right, so quickly, before we get into it, this is 5-minute millionaires. 5 minute? I think it's 5
minute.
5-minute millionaires. Where, if you haven't been here before and seen this previous, the idea is we have a concept or an industry of sorts, and we've got to come up with a business idea in 5 minutes. And today's business idea, Jamie, just remind the crowd, is?
It's all about current social movements. A business idea to help the current social bunch of you out there.
Very
broad. We could come up with very different movements.
There's all sorts of movements out there now.
We'll see how it is.
Should we get going?
Let's get going.
Let's go.
5 minutes later.
So here we go. Time's almost up.
How are we looking with that time?
And it's gone.
Done. I'm ready.
We're done. You ready?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. I've got a little pitch.
You go first.
Yes, I will.
Good.
Because I went first. No, I went last time. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I'm going to pitch you with the problem first, right?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you my solution.
I see.
The issue. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. Money can be very confusing.
It can be.
Do you agree?
I do agree with that.
Budgeting, saving, investing, debt management might sound like a foreign language to many of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's not even get started on those expensive finance boring classes that are out there.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Exactly. So, the truth is, many people want to get their finances together, but there's no easy, fun way to learn.
True.
Introducing
Ooh.
WealthWise.
WealthWise, I like that.
WealthWise. This is your personal financial mentor that fits right in your pocket and doesn't cost you an arm or a leg.
Nice.
Doesn't. Think of it like a little TikTok, right?
Okay.
Kind of a TikTok platform, essentially.
Okay, so it's an app.
But instead of the dancing, instead of the dancing, we're teaching you how to actually make money that works for you. So it'd be like bite-sized videos where you can learn the little tips, tricks, and understand how finance works.
I see.
You get it now. So basically, you'll learn everything from saving hacks to investing basics in just 1 to 3 minutes. No boring lectures, just all the good stuff.
Gotcha.
All on WealthWise.
See.
All about finance.
All about finance. So the social movement is basically just people benefiting off of like modern day financial struggles.
Basically, nowadays everyone's wanting to understand how to save a bit more, invest. True. How do you invest? How do you do X, Y, Z? Everyone's becoming very, very financially. I was going to say something, and my brain just went.
I get what you mean though, where they're like almost illiterate in the modern day of finances.
Yeah,
because the whole financial sector is just kind of completely out there. And
basically, money is a big issue in the UK, and a lot of people need to be on top of it.
Yeah.
So essentially, Wealthwise will solve that for you,
So
and it'll be awfully cheap.
I was just about to ask, how much are you going to pay for a Wealthwise subscription?
Yeah, so like
Is that how it works? A subscription or one-off payment?
In terms of monetizing it,
Yeah.
you'll have obviously your standard free subscription, and if you want to get a bit more premium, you can upgrade for a fee of £3 a month.
£3 a month?
Similar to our Patreon.
Close. Ours is more because it's more.
There's more involved in it. Yeah,
more knowledge.
100%. Anyway, that's my Wealthwise. That's what I came up with in 5 minutes.
I respect
it. A bit about finance.
I do respect.
What did you go with?
I came up with. I just worked out. You need 28,000 customers, and then you made your million. There you go. So
it's not what we're looking to do at Wealthwise. We're looking to put money in your pocket.
That's what we're looking to do on 5 Minute Millionaires. Right, here we go, people. I have come up with Mindscape VR. So in the modern day of virtual reality, you can get your own downloadable game software on your VR headsets. VR headsets are becoming a big thing. Headsets. So here we go. Welcome to Mindscape VR. Not yet.
I don't.
Your next generation sanctuary. Find your peace powered by AI. So you step into Mindscape VR, where cutting edge. God, we're really losing it, aren't we? Cutting edge AI technology crafts. It crafts your personal experience and escape into tranquility. You experience bespoke virtual environments that adapt to your emotions, offering you a unique blend of relaxation, meditation, and therapeutic support. Ooh. And it's tailored by tranquility at your command. God, there's a lot of tease. Mindscape VR, because everyone deserves a sanctuary. So basically, VR is becoming a big thing. A lot of people have got VR headsets now. So it will be an application. Obviously, we have a limited customer base now. I bear that in mind. But as I think the world moves on, VR is going to become a bigger thing. So I'm thinking where you can create your own sanctuary. You basically say what sort of mood you're in, and it sets the tone. You could be like, oh, I'd love to see like an avatar setting with some nice music and stuff like that. Yeah. And it sets you into your sanctuary that you can bespoke to yourself using AI. Oh, I want to see some birds.
And what, you just sit?
You just sit and you relax.
You're meditating.
So basically, today is... movement is all about sort of mental health, mental awareness, and I think creating a safe space is what you need. Hence, Mindscape VR.
Interesting.
So yeah,
let us know your thoughts.
Let us know your thoughts. Below. Those two might have both been crap. Most have both been alright.
I mean, I know what I would go for.
Mindscape VR.
No.
You would 100% go for Mindscape VR.
No chance. Wealthwise.
I'm pretty sure there's Wealthwise already out there. To be honest with you.
Who?
Well, like little financial tips. Banks all have that on their apps. And
Banks?
Stuff. Yeah, my Barclays thing's got a few like little financial
TikToks,
tips.
Yeah? Got little TikTok videos telling you exactly what to do.
Hey, don't get defensive now.
You know what? If I wanted to, Mindscape, I'd just meditate.
Okay, not everyone's got the same imagination over there.
Buy a VR headset, which is going to set me back like TJ.
It's for the people who already have it, you see. They deserve it.
Let us know if you have a VR headset down below.
Anyway, let us know your thoughts. Who's got the better 5 Minute Millionaire business idea? And we'll get back into the episode now.
I like it. No, I do like it.
That was 5 Minute Millionaires. We're back into the episode talking about branding and your identity.
Nice.
That was weird. I don't know why I did that.
A little ID.
A little Vogue.
Photo.
Anyway.
Well, unlike...
Go on. Oh, yes.
Unlike our amazing business ideas.
Oh, everyone that comes and goes.
There are a lot of businesses out there that make big old mistakes.
But not like us. They ain't like us. They're not like us. Yeah, talking about the mistakes, I've taken note of a few key branding mistakes that can be made and to avoid for you people at home. So we'll run through them now and get your thoughts, Jay. So initially, branding's key as long as you are consistent with it. Being 100%. Consistent with your branding is crucial. If you like
consistently good, that is
exactly
because there are some consistently shit ones out there.
But consistency, I think, is more important than being good or bad. If you're consistently bad, you can almost use that as a ploy to like I don't know, take the next step up when you choose to rebrand or when you choose to like reorganize yourself. If you're kind of moving between all these different spaces and identities and platforms, you kind of lose touch with having a brand.
But I'd
completely.
argue, like, if you're a fast food restaurant, right, let's say, and you're consistently bad, you're going to be known for that.
True.
Not what you're trying to get known for.
Well, in terms of your product, yeah.
But I do get where you're coming from, because, like, if you step up your game, then suddenly, whoa, these guys are actually quicker now.
Exactly.
Anyway.
There can be a flip side to that I've just thought of now, in terms of inconsistency, in terms of your identity can be a thing. What I mean to say is, like, there are brands out there, these luxury brands, these pop-up brands that kind of have these crazy random day release, random time release sales. They've got a collection of however many garments or apparel items, and it's kind of come and go like that. And they almost pull their audience into a full year round, like, watching on their websites and stuff, because the fact they're inconsistent. However, they're being inconsistent, they're consistent with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like that mysterious element, which a lot of people buy into. It's like, when's the next drop? Got to keep your eyes peeled.
So make your mind up if you're going to be one or the other, and whichever one you choose and whichever identity you have, just be consistent.
Yeah, stick to it as itineraries much as you can.
With it. I mean, we in Suits and Sliders, we have a structure, especially when it comes to our advertising and marketing, where we've got, where certain things have to be met. Like an itinerary, basically, for
thresholds,
thresholds that need to be met in terms of what content goes where, what content, the value of the content has to have. These basic thresholds, that means that every single time we're posting something out there, it follows our character traits of our identity of our brand.
Yeah.
And that's what we mean by 100%. Being consistent. Moving on. Failing to clearly define what the brand stands for. So you can be a brand, you can have an identity, but if you don't translate that well enough, you will be lost in the crowd with your competitors, and all that you will end up being is just the value of what your product is and how good your product is. Which, don't get me wrong, says a lot for maybe how much work you put into it, but if you don't have a brand, then the product has no collection to it, has no gumption to it. Nobody's going to talk about it.
Has no real meaning.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, has no. Yeah. As harsh as that sounds, but it doesn't. Like, even if it's things like, oh, if I purchase this, a bit goes to charity, etc., etc. That's still got a bit of a meaning. Behind it. If you're just a bog standard brand out there, and there's many of them, you're just going to literally, like you said, fall behind.
Well, the point is, if you focus so highly on making the product or the service like perfect, genuinely in the best way you can describe perfect, you'll spend so much time on that you'll lose touch with having an audience and building a spectatorship and building a customer and building a brand. And then all that you're left with at the end of it is a great product, and nobody left there looking at it.
Exactly. And that building the brand ultimately drives your revenue.
And that leads into my next point. When you have those customers around, talk to them, interact, engage with them, because you need their feedback in order to keep your brand fulfilling that message. This is why we constantly say to you guys, getting in the comments, getting in the sort of stories on the social media, sending us messages.
You're going to say be adaptable. You're like, this is why we say to you guys, like, be adaptable. And you're like, get in the comments.
Yeah, my point being is we've got to listen to you, because you'll help us secure our brand, and you'll also be part of what makes our brand what it becomes, because
definitely.
This is the early stage for us. This may become something completely different to what we initially intended.
We don't want to give you segments that you don't enjoy, for example. So if you say, oh, we don't like this one, scrap that, do more of this, we'll do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last one I'd probably say is not living up to ethical standards. Point being is, if you're a brand that's going to say you're sustainable, if you're a brand that's going to say that you're morally aligned in some way, you have got to put yourself on that straight and narrow. If you try and divert from that and you try some sneaky little tactics,
you'll get found out.
You're going to get found out. So if you're going to promote that sort of avenue, do it, but do it properly. Don't try and pull the wool over anyone's eyes.
Exactly. When it's something as big as that, for example, sustainability, you can't hide from it.
You just can't.
You're going to get found out. It's so, like, I mean, they call it greenwashing, don't they?
They
essentially.
do.
So you've got brands like, for example, Zara, right? They've recently, obviously, faced some accusations because they were trying to be sustainable and have sustainable efforts. However, they were basically marketing this rather than actually showing any change.
Okay.
And they were essentially just greenwashing everything that they were doing.
I see.
Which isn't sustainable, like really sustainable.
Yeah. Any other like brands or things you can think of?
I mean, like,
that, like,
just looking at what I found. So you got people like H&M,
Yeah.
right? They had a conscious collection, is what they did.
Okay.
But they faced a lot of backlash because they were using a sustainable buzzword, conscious, and essentially not providing any transparency to their supply chain at all. So how can you say this is a conscious collection, almost telling all your consumers that if you buy this, you're making a good decision, you're following your conscious brain to realize that this is the right way to go, but not demonstrating any transparency to their supply chain.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost like distraction techniques. Like, you know how when a magician does a trick, he's like, I've got your attention here, I'm doing something over here.
Essentially,
For
all
brands,
it is, it's just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly. So the
Popping
band's
out a
keeping
few
you here by saying
yeah.
right things, but actually behind closed doors,
100%.
their factories
They're just
are here and
marketing.
there.
They're just trying to say the right things to get customers through the door, yet not actually proving anything to anyone.
I see what you mean.
So that's how they get found out. And like you said, the backlash they received is terrible. They don't have. I don't think they even have that collection anymore. They had to scrap it because of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go down the avenue of creating a product at all and going down manufacturing, if you want to align yourself sustainably and do all that sort of stuff, get the work in early. Make sure that you're going through the right avenues to build that sort of sustainable brand from the off, rather than encompassing the problems further down the line.
Like, even if, let's say, you don't have the money, right? Because a lot of it comes down to money. And if you have a really sustainable brand or product, especially if you're looking at clothing, it's going to cost you a bit more. You need to spend a bit more to get the bang for your buck.
Yeah.
However, you can maybe express this. You can be open and transparent. But like, as we grow, we're going to choose more sustainable, basically, avenues. And we're going to pick more sustainable supply chain makers. However, to start with, we've got this. But to mitigate that, we're going to try and donate to, I don't know, charity that aligns with whatever you're trying to sell value-wise in terms of sustainability.
Yeah, and also get out there, like, if you might not have been able to start so sustainably, mention the things that you want to change as time goes on, the things that you want to almost iron out as you become bigger and you get more of a customer brand more of a brand presence. Once you've got that sort of stuff, you can go, okay, we're going to now look back at this thing that we've done, which we want to sustainably improve. And it's kind of like, if you're as transparent as that, like, honestly, trust with your customers is everything. So build that trust by telling them the full outline of what it is you're trying to do, especially if you're going down that sustainable route.
Definitely. I mean, you can even align it to tech. Obviously, you start off, you can create something that's good and decent. However, if you get a few more sales, a bit more backing, you can create something that's even better. And all that upgrading and almost adapting, but also promoting where you're trying to get to, people really buy into that story.
They do. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next segment now, because we've got a fun one planned for you. And we realise it's holiday season, isn't it, Jamie?
It is.
What holiday is it for these people?
Easter is around the corner.
Easter. And that gives you a little hint. We're about to get into Is It Really Worth It with a little Easter twist.
Little taster session.
Let's go. We are into Is It Really Worth It today, celebrating your Easter holidays. As you can see here, we have the Easter Delectables.
What a collection.
I mean, other times of year, have they got like a specific food? I guess like Christmas got like mince pies and things, and like Christmas dinner.
Oh, really?
Valentine's
Halloween
Day,
sweets.
it's got like little heart-like chocolates and stuff. Halloween's got sweets. But I think Easter's the really tenable, like,
there's nothing else really.
Easter eggs. When you think of Easter, it's one of the first things you think of.
Eggs.
So we couldn't help, but even though chocolate was our last one, we brought it back for the Easter eggs today with Is It Really Worth It? And it's going to be Jamie trying these delectables today. So Jamie, we've got an eclectic mix here. We've got a bit of Tony's Chocololly, which is a big old brand out there in the chocolate space.
Sustainable.
Is it?
Yeah, they're all about fair trade within the chocolate industry and stuff like that.
We've got a cheeky little bit of M&M. Can't go wrong with a bit of M&M. And then we've got a more classical option with the Thorntons. We've got a Tesco's Pure brand. And I don't think it's Tesco's Finest. That's just normal Tesco's, bro. And then we've got mini eggs.
Cadbury mini eggs.
Good old mini eggs. We've got a variance of prices here. What are you going to go for first?
I don't know. You tell me.
Interesting boxes as well.
I'll go for the little one.
Go for the little one.
Go for the little one.
So this is a good old mini eggs. Can't go wrong with mini eggs. Oh, got a little sound
noisy.
there.
Little toy.
Bit extra.
Let's get into it. You know what? We'll give you a little taste of all the eggs.
Go for it. What's your favourite chocolate, actually, before you crack on in?
Favorite chocolate? You know what? I like Tony's.
You do like? Do you know what? I've never actually tried Tony's chocolate
Love
roll.
Tony's.
I'm gonna have to try it
You
after
can
you
try
have
some.
some.
All right. This could go really, really wrong. I'm just gonna smash it.
I think you have
Just smash
to.
on my head.
There's no way for it to be like done on your head. Go on then. Go, hoorah! Oh. That hurt.
It was a bit hollow, that. It was damage. Right, we're going straight from the middle.
The
Not your,
smallest bit of damage.
not your usual technique.
Go through the middle. That is weird.
Oh, shit.
Has it got mini eggs in there? Is it?
Yeah, that's
Oh, cool.
got that little. Do you want one?
Yeah, go on. I'm trying to do this without falling over. There we go.
I mean,
Oh, I love a good mini egg. You know.
yeah, it's just a bog standard like Cadbury chocolate.
Yeah. Thoughts? Anything you get from it? Does it taste nice?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like your classic little dairy milk bar.
True. But nice little touch from the mini eggs.
I like it. Design's quite cool as well.
So that's number one for now.
This one,
Go for the Tesco's.
I really do like this section.
What flavours does it say on it? Pretzel.
And salt.
Interesting. That's a weird mix to go for.
I don't mind it. Have you had? Oh my god, that's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. Have you had the pretzel chocolate before?
I've had the flips. Flips are lovely. But I've not
Ready?
had... Yeah, go on then. This guy.
Oh, you.
Jesus. This is a...
This makes
really...
it entertaining,
You're
doesn't
like,
it?
You're like your uncle. I can see where you get it from now.
I'll put that in there. Right,
So...
do you want a bit?
Yeah, go on then. It's not really my segment.
It's
but
Easter, we're sharing.
It's Easter.
Oh.
Oh, do I not get that bit? Oh, thanks. You get to feed me.
Oh. Oh
Second
my
that
God.
went in, that was nice. That pretzel's really lovely.
It's giving popcorn.
It is giving popcorn.
Chocolate pop. So you know when you go to cinema?
Yeah. Do you ask for sweet or savoury? Or mix?
I get mixed.
Yeah, same.
And you're whacking them in, and you have like a Malteser or something. It tastes like that.
It does taste like that.
I like that.
That was good.
I like that a lot.
Really, really good.
Different. Oh, there's a bit over there. Different from your usual egg. You
Right,
get
what are we
brain
going for
damage from
next?
this. Thorntons. Not heard of Thorntons.
You've not heard of Thorntons?
Never.
God, I thought they were
Looks
like a
quite
staple. They usually make
classical.
They usually make those like trays of chocolate. You'll see a lot of them rather than
Or like the
seeing them-
shells and.
No, not this.
No.
That's Gulliver's, I think.
Oh, they got some here.
Oh, have they? Oh, you get to try a couple of them.
All right.
Fancier packaging. Oh, look at that. It's got a bit of styling on it.
It's got a little bit of like a streaky.
It's got a target mark for your forehead. Look at that. Perfect.
Say no more.
Say no more. I'm not going to get used to this
What
chocolate
am I doing,
everywhere.
mate?
What are you doing?
Get bruises on the head.
You're going to wake up tomorrow with a fat headache, I tell you that much. No? Don't look impressed. What are our thoughts? I think that's just a little bit of white chocolate on the front, maybe. I love a bit of white chocolate, you know. It's my kryptonite.
Not bad.
What do we think? Go on then. What are we thinking? Don't look too impressed.
I like it. I don't mind it.
No? A bit
But it's
bland.
kind of like your typical.
Yeah.
I feel like cheap egg vibe. You know when your mom like buys you a tiny little egg,
Yeah.
kind of that vibe.
I taste exactly what you mean. That's a good point.
I really don't know if that's a good description of it, but this looks pretty sick.
Do you know what? Packaging wise, theirs is awesome. It really is cool.
Catches your eye, doesn't it?
I
For
think,
sure.
especially at these holiday times, like there was genuinely
many
hundreds of
eggs.
different types on the shelves. So you've got to do something that stands out. If you're going into a space that's so saturated and a holiday time of year,
Got some
stand
M&Ms
out.
down
Oh, I
there as
love the
well.
packaging of the egg as well.
Down there, you got a few packets that.
Oh, I love it.
That looks class.
Really, really
Disco
nice.
vibe.
It is a bit of a disco vibe.
It's actually like a very similar size.
Is it?
Yeah,
It looks a lot larger to me.
very similar packaging as well to the Cadbury one.
I see.
This thing, whatever that is. Anyway,
M&M's. Yeah. Oh, we've got a bit of like
just giving a
it's like a
cracked
dinosaur egg vibe.
Dinosaur egg.
This is going to go everywhere. Like, if it cracks in the lines. it's
Should I
gonna
just
go-
do this one?
No, mate. You've committed to the head. Commit to the head, bro.
Yeah,
Hoorah!
fucking hell, my eyebrow.
Don't get it in your eye.
Think about eyebrows, people.
No. I mean, we would already have known by this point.
Hopefully, you've already shaved it off.
Hopefully.
It's a very different colour.
It is, isn't it? It's almost like
Yellow.
yeah. Interesting. What taste is it? No, right. What sort of taste?
Tastes
is it?
very good.
Exactly the same.
No, very good. Like Malteser
Because
taste.
the ranking so far,
Malteser taste.
it does taste like Maltesers.
It shouldn't.
Oh, it's not. It shouldn't. No, it's M&Ms.
But it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to the big egg. This is a mess right now in the studio of SNS.
There's chocolate everywhere.
Chocolato. Fuck, can't open these things. Super embarrassing.
Do you know where Tony's started from?
Like company?
No, where its companies. Oh yeah, where its companies originated from.
Netherlands?
That's right. It's a Dutch company.
I know.
And they are absolutely storming. People go there just to go to Tony's Chocolate Factory, which is crazy. Can you imagine having that much presence in your brand that people literally go to a different country just to try your chocolate?
You can like make your own chocolate.
It's mad.
Like whatever flavour you want, everything.
That's pretty cool.
Sick. That looks pretty cool. I like red.
I like red.
And you get little eggs. And they're on real
little
eggs.
Ooh.
Little different flavours.
Okay. Let's try them out. I must admit, this is the most expensive of them. So,
it's got a little like
Superman mark. I want to see that on your forehead after it.
Oh, that is a pretty cool.
That is cool, and I like the fact it's got different sides to it as well.
You want it there?
Yeah. Go on.
You what, mate?
It's your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Jesus, what?
Jesus.
And that's a darker colour as well.
Yeah.
What's it taste like?
Got concussion, mate.
Jamie's knocked out for the rest of the episode.
Have you seen what do they call it? Suicide can or whatever it is.
It tastes very different. No, I haven't. What's
Right.
a suicide can?
You get like a can of beer or something. Smash on your head, pass it round, and keep going until it like explodes.
What? So if you hit your head and it doesn't explode the first time you hand it to the next thing
Yeah.
it does. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What
no,
do you think of
very
this
good.
one?
No, my favourite.
It is good actually. I must admit. It's
100%.
much like
Up the Tony.
smoother as far as the chocolate goes. So in terms of price wise, who do you think was at the top?
I mean, in terms of sizing.
Well, actually, no. 5 through 1 again. Who's your favourite? Who's your worst?
Favourite by far.
Tony's comes through with the win. Following up, Tesco. Following up. Okay.
Just a pretzel, mate.
Yeah.
Something different.
M&M's in third place. Thornton's coming in fourth, and you're saying the mini eggs come last.
I like the mini eggs. The egg is what I'm going off, right?
True. But maybe the price will help you out with that. I'll tell you a little bit about the prices. So this delectable mini eggs was actually only £2, which I think is pretty good for the egg. This would be like a really good like present to put as the end of like an Easter egg hunt or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Once you've already spent so much money on all the toys and everything else and the little eggs that you've hidden everywhere, I think that could be a good final egg to grab.
How much? £2?
£2.
Pretty
next
good.
up, which one do you think's next up?
Price-wise.
Price-wise.
I really like Tesco's.
I would have thought that as well. It's actually Thornton's.
Really?
Now, they did have a deal on making it the price that just came under the box. But the Tesco's one...
what? Club card or something like that?
Exactly, yeah.
Or Nectar.
But nevertheless, like if they can value that at that price to have that offering, Thornton's came in at £5.50, which I think for the amount of egg that you get out of it is pretty good. And the extra chocolates that you get, pretty damn good.
Yeah, that is pretty good, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Next up...
I'd go Tesco's again.
You're right. It's the Tesco's next. £8 is the Tesco's. So I thought it was fairly expensive.
I ranked it number
egg.
2, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say I don't know how much the M&Ms are, but it's not worth the value. How much is this?
£8.
Yeah, it's not worth more than £8. The M&Ms.
So that is 4 of these basically. You can get 4 of these or one of them.
Yeah, I'll get one of them. So.
I see. To be fair, you do have to give a bit of credit to the fact that it has got that additional flavouring and taste to it, which none of these other eggs have contributed towards.
salt,
but they have the extra little bits in there. So, yeah, you never know. And then next up comes through with the M&Ms at just shy of £10.
That's mental.
Finishing off with the big one.
How's that £10?
Tony's Chocololly at £15.
Yeah. 15?
£15.
Wow.
I think they had a deal on as well.
I mean, I know it is
like
we mentioned earlier, you pay for that.
Pay for the premium.
Premium, but also the brand itself, like what they do behind the scenes.
Exactly. As far as the companies perform themselves, it pretty much goes in a similar sort of order, except from Tesco obviously taking that massive jump because of their branding. It doesn't define Tesco's brand by simply its chocolate. So Tesco's absolutely storms ahead with obviously being a £61.5 billion company last year. Tony's Chocololly, where do you think they came in terms of their net worth?
I don't know.
We've got the 2022 reports.
Is this UK or like just general?
I've got what I feel is general, but I might be wrong.
Well, in terms of how much I think they made, I think they're like, I think they're in the millions, not the billions.
Okay.
I would say about 300.
You know what? You're in the right ballpark. It was 109 million euros, which probably works out to be about 200 million pounds or somewhere in that sort of remit. I think 150 to 200 million pounds. So yeah.
There's a what? How much euros?
109 million euros. Euros is less than pounds, isn't it? It was the other way around.
So it'll be more pounds. No, less pounds. What am I on about?
Less pounds? We're both far too tired to do the conversion.
£1 is like one something euro.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Pounds is the biggest currency. Yeah, the strongest currency. Right,
this one surprises me. Thornton's.
I honestly don't know. Like, what are they? Is that their brand? Are they owned by like someone else? You know how cereal, like you've got.
No, as far as it's got here, it's its own UK-based chocolate manufacturer.
Okay, fair. No clue. If that's 100, I'd say this is probably like 50s, 20s.
Well, this is interesting. Their annual revenues,
a
few years ago, was at 2 billion.
What?
But their net value at the end of that financial year was minus 115 million. So I don't know what they're doing, but by the looks of the data here, they clearly aren't getting something right. Like they're losing out more than they're like profiting at the moment, despite having such high revenue points. Wow. So
that's crazy. That's something to look into. Why?
Definitely.
What is going on there?
And then the final two coming in, Cadbury's Mini Eggs, absolutely smashing it at 90 billion. The market capitalization of Mini Eggs is huge. Annual revenues of about 31 billion.
Jeez.
And then finally, M&M's, which is actually under the incorporation of Mars, which we spoke about before. We're talking about net worths.
Right.
Is estimated at annual sales of 50 billion in terms of the Mars company, under the bracket of an estimated net worth of 117 billion dollars.
That's absurd.
Money that I cannot comprehend.
That is crazy.
Anyway, what I can comprehend is there is chocolate everywhere.
There is a mess. I apologise.
So yeah, overall, not bad. Not
bad.
Tasty.
Like, I mean, some decent eggs out there. I feel like the pricing for eggs are just going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, I remember like a big Tony's, not obviously Tony's, but a big box like that, maybe be £6.
Yeah, you're right.
It's 15.
And I know exactly what you mean. It's inflation in it with the sort of prices of things.
Oh, and the money's doing a job. Man.
It's how much independent companies are having to price up because of that name value and that branding value behind them. So it's interesting. Having a name behind you can almost just make your product immediately exclusive. However, you do see that the more exclusive brands, they do add the additions. They have the designing on the eggs. They have the additional chocolates. So
I've got to.
multiple products within the same space, but the branding and the identity is very different, hence the different pricing.
Interesting.
I
like that. Yeah, no, it's cool. I like that a lot. Cool, mate. Well, my head is slowly ringing.
What? You drank my water. Anyway, people, you just drank my water. You're really losing your mind. It's been a long day for us, isn't it?
It's been a long day. But my head's actually a bit sore, mate.
Probably just smashed a bunch of eggs against it.
I'll send a picture in if I have any cuts tomorrow.
Yeah, do so. I've got a big headache. We'll put a picture on the social medias if you see a big bruise on his forehead. You know why.
Oh dear. Anyway, I've enjoyed that. That was a nice little segment. I quite like the stories, the workplace stories.
The workplace stories was funny.
But essentially what we're saying here is branding is key.
It is. Having an identity, having that brand and defining it as this next sort of step in the journey of creating your first ever business, your first ever company is huge. And it really does make a massive difference between you being a company that has a presence and has a community behind you, has loyalty and everything else, compared to a brand that has simply got a good product and it doesn't mean anything more than that. A
good one is just to think of the brands that you use almost every day and why do you use them? and have a look at those, see where you can maybe implement something similar to what they do into your business.
Yeah, definitely. As we move over the next few episodes as well, and potentially you're taking notes on these sorts of things, or you at least start sort of taking a mental note, these are the sort of things that will translate back into your business plan when you then get around to the pitching that will come into probably in a few weeks' time. But nevertheless, do keep note of all these things, because episode upon episode, we're going to keep building towards being able to release a first business plan. And as we will get towards releasing our first official business plan to you lovely people.
100%. I mean, yeah, well, particularly I know when we were doing our pitching to people, our branding and kind of the emphasis on what we want to get across from one of our businesses that we're running in the background was key to getting the investors to really buy in. Yeah,
definitely. You're 100% right. And kind of outside of that, it works for us to have a really good defined identity from the off, because a big part of our identity has been transparency, has been educating throughout the process. And that's why it's been easier for us to then kind of translate this on a podcast to all of you.
Exactly.
That's part of the message that we have between ourselves.
100%. So when we're looking for live partners, whether it be within any of the businesses that we have at the moment, which isn't a lot, it's only 2. But regardless of the fact, we know exactly what we're looking for.
We do.
And that means we're not going to sway away from our core values. And then when we're looking to approach people to join us, whatever it may be, they almost need to hit a certain threshold, as we mentioned earlier.
You do. But to keep hold of the fact that even for us, having a brand is everything for you being a defined company. And who's included in that is your audience, is your customer base. For us, it is you. And you are the people that help us define a brand which has some sort of level of empowerment and has credibility behind the values that we uphold. So we want as much engagement from you as humanly possible. And we do obviously jump into a extended episode on Patreon now. So if you haven't already had a little look, it is £4. Once again, give it a little plug. Go and check it out. We're going to get into some more things about the branding before we close it today, and another little cheeky segment if you do want to go.
We're going to touch on a lot of points related to our actual businesses that we're running in the background. So
exactly.
You get some nice juicy exclusives.
And in the meantime, if you're not, it was still an absolute pleasure having you around for episode 6.
Have a good Easter.
Have an amazing Easter.
An amazing Easter.
Hope you eat lots of chocolate eggs like we have scattered around the studio right now.
Try open them the same way I do.
No, please don't.
It's really quick
No,
and efficient.
we're going to get a dispute liability claim, sue or something if you suggest that to our audience.
Tom,
don't do that.
Please put a disclaimer.
A little disclaimer.
But if you're hard, if you're hard as fuck, do it.
Anyway, people, like, subscribe, give us a little comment,
and
we'll see you soon, all right?
Cheerio!
Toodle pip! Fun. Anyway. Okay, happy?
Yeah, fair play.
Did you just say fair play? You never say fair play to me. Like, you're always giving me a hard time. That felt really nice. Do that more often.
Fuck off.